I want to admit to you, and I want to apologize to a lot of people out there, I've had the wrong impression of Memphis. You know, I got off my jet today, and they had a real big airport here. And I even saw a couple Cadillacs on the highway as I came over here to the TV station. And you, contrary to my beliefs, from what I'd heard, are a real literate TV announcer. And Memphis really is showing me a lot more class than I was led to believe. It's a pleasure for Ric Flair, the world champion, to be right here in Memphis, and I'm going to do all I can to make this promotion as successful as any promotion that I take part in. You know, after being in big cities like Chicago and New York and Kansas City and Atlanta, you know, a person like myself, who obviously is a top-shelf individual, is led to believe that Memphis was nothing but rednecks and low-class people, and I'm really amazed. And Memphis has shown me a lot. Put the contract down here, my man. We'll make Memphis a big-time wrestling community.
You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, woo, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo!
Top shelf, baby.
That's good stuff.
So, what happened with that is I wanted to isolate woo,
Yeah,
and then just add it to our sound.
sure.
So I'm starting to play through stuff, and I'm like, I came across this Memphis bit. The best promo guy ever.
Yeah.
Like, Ric Flair gives the best promo. But I wanted to find something with Memphis.
Right.
But I'm like, he's super chill on this one. He's still funny.
Right.
You know, top shelf.
Right.
You know.
Oh, it's hilarious.
So then I had to tag on a classic jet flying bit, but
That's great.
it goes out to the wrestling fans too.
Yep.
As I'm getting to know more people in our audience, wrestling is definitely a topic of discussion. So, well, let me tell everybody what the hell they're watching and listening to right now.
Okay.
We are called the Rhythm Section Podcast, and we discuss music, interview local musicians, and talk about Ric Flair. And we are located in several locations. And Jeff, please share with us where they can find us.
Yeah, you can find us on YouTube. That is our preferred method of you watching.
And I'm going to give more detail on that.
Yeah, and Facebook at the Rhythm Section Pod. And we are on Apple, Spotify, and Stitcher.
Yes. We come to you pre-recorded from SRP Studios, which has grown, by the way. Maybe we can talk about that someday. But,
Sure.
And produced by Shelby Row Productions. If you want to start a podcast, go to shelbyrowproductions.com. Or maybe we can cut a nice, fair deal to edit your podcast, but we have free consultations. So go to my website, shelbyrowproductions.com, and schedule that free consultation.
Yep.
Patreon, another thing that's going to be talked about today.
Yeah.
Click on our Patreon link and sign up for our tip jar tier. It's $1 a month, $12 a year. If you can provide, if you can, give that would be super helpful. That's it, man. Parental discretion of this podcast is advised. And what's funny is I can never remember the interviews or intros where we swear.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a lot of times I say that and no one swears.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, there's going to be plenty where they do. So,
well, awesome. Glad to be here, Jeff.
absolutely.
Looking forward to this one. We had a good interview with Danny Day.
Yeah.
Let's at least throw his name out there before we get in more details on him.
Yeah.
Danny Day is like a local celebrity, really. Like every band knows him. He's this really cool photographer that just shows up like Batman and helps bands out with some cool photos.
Yep.
But it's also a business for him. So part of this is to promote that part of it as well. So, but before we get deeper into Danny Day, Jeff, please take it away.
Yeah. Every week I do a little talk about different artists and maybe not necessarily Memphis artists. And just wanted to once again mention Grace Musicians Group and Brian Fagan. He's the gentleman that helped book us up in upstate New York for a gig this past summer. Great show. We had a great time. And he has got a lot of great artists under his, I guess you would say, moniker. Is that the right term?
Sure.
But
sounds good to me.
Yeah, and I've talked about several of his artists already, and I wanted to mention another one. JP is this guy's name. He is from upstate New York. I believe he is still actively in the Army. So thank you, JP, for your service. But he recently relocated to Nashville, and I'm sure he is getting an education in music in Nashville, because
I got the same one.
Yeah, it's a whole different ball game. But he's there and he's got material. I honestly don't know a tremendous amount about him, but I've researched him a little bit, listened to some of his music. He's got some stuff on Facebook and some stuff on YouTube. He is an up and coming guy that they're promoting, and he's good, and I think he's going to go a long way. So if you get a chance, check him out. And yeah, we appreciate that. The only other thing I wanted to mention was yesterday I had a great day. I got to go to Danny Days. It works out perfectly since we're doing his intro. But he has a farm that's not too far from my farm.
And what's the county again? You're in Marshall County.
I'm in Benton County, and oh God.
You go through Marshall.
You go past us, and he is actually in Tennessee, so he's a little bit north.
Okay.
East of my farm.
Okay.
I believe it's McNairy County, which, if you know anything about history, that's where Buford Pusser was from.
Pusser. I have no idea who that is.
The movie Walking Tall.
Okay.
That was about him. So that all took place in McNairy County. But Danny's got a great farm out there. He invites different people, not just musicians, but people he knows through the music business, and we all got to go out there and hang out and do the outdoor thing.
Star-studded. Drop some names.
Mike Bertoldo was there, John Patterson, Danny, Danny Day, and Brian. And Brian, I'm so sorry, I just met you yesterday and I don't remember your last name. Yeah, that's what you were waiting for. You wanted to use that on.
That's why I told you still go with it, even though you don't know his last name.
Yeah, and all that we did was sit around the table and talk all day. We had a great time.
Nothing was murdered.
Nothing was murdered.
Okay,
I think
Well, I mean,
a couple
hunting,
of the guys got there Friday night and they spent the night. And I'm pretty sure copious amounts of bourbon were ingested. So they weren't really ready to get up and deer hunt the next morning. And if any of your wives are watching this, I'm sorry if I just got you in trouble. But yeah, so it was a lot of fun. We had a great time, told a lot of lies and a lot of stories, and just hung out.
There's another interesting connection with that story. Like you mentioned, it's about Danny Day.
Sure.
This intro is for the interview that we have recorded.
Yep.
But little sneak peek.
Yep.
After this intro, John Patterson himself is going to be in here recording his interview.
And if you don't know who that is, you're about to.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to that. I know Jeff's very excited.
Absolutely.
All right. I want to do some shameless promotion again. And I don't always want to make it business oriented, but a part of this is to, try to educate in a way how our monetization works. And how that's beneficial to us. And that's what we've been saying a lot.
Yep.
It supports us. Okay. Today I want to talk about how it benefits the audience and why YouTube is important and how easy it is to make it so YouTube helps us. So we launch and promote all of our episodes and clips on YouTube, just like Facebook. It's the same.
Right.
Slightly different schedule, but full episodes on both platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Monday, 6 p.m. Central. So, and then we drop audio only in the morning, Apple, Spotify, and everything.
Yeah.
So there's definitely people that just listen.
Yeah.
That's how they like it. So
they're in their car going to work.
Keep on keeping on.
Yeah, we don't want you watching video while you're driving.
Maybe jump to our channel and subscribe.
Yeah.
But if you're a viewer and you view on Facebook, just jump on over to YouTube. It costs you nothing. That's why this is stronger than Patreon, because it's free to the listener. They're not paying any kind of tip or anything.
Sure.
And so obviously that helps us, like I mentioned, but it also helps the community. If you patronize our YouTube channel and make it bigger, the celebrities that we have in here, these amazing people are getting a different kind of reach. Our Facebook reach is local.
Yep.
Awesome. And I love how that's been built. My YouTube channel, nationwide, baby, global.
Worldwide, yeah.
It doesn't take much. I have 5,700 subscribers.
Right.
It doesn't matter what you publish, you're going to find stuff, spins and views in Germany and just all over the place, but definitely all over the country.
Yeah.
Well, when we play the artist's songs or just general topics, as these people in Memphis are getting a much larger reach and being pushed into audiences that are new.
Yeah.
that don't know these bands and are commenting on how much they like the Fever Tree song.
Yeah.
Social Mediocrity.
Right.
We played Every Mother's Nightmare song. What was the name of that song?
It was off Resurrect the Faithful, I think was the title track.
And then we did one for Derek Joseph, Drunk in a Mexican Restaurant.
Yeah.
So,
and ultimately, that's what we want. We are here to give Memphis musicians a platform well beyond Memphis.
Right.
That's what we're wanting to do.
Right. And the channel will give us that. So, not that this is a competition, but I wanted to share, the views that those 3 songs got.
Okay.
We're not lighting the world on fire.
Right.
But
we could.
Every Mother's Nightmare, Resurrect the Faithful, 101 views.
Right.
I would be willing to bet 99% of that are people that don't know the band, don't know Memphis, don't live here.
Right.
So that's a benefit, and I would say any band would love it if they played in a room that had 100 people in front of them.
Sure.
Fever Tree, Social Mediocrity, 96.
Yeah.
And our boy Derek, Drunk in a Mexican Restaurant, 166. Now, he gets an asterisk because I've talked about him a ton on my channel. My audience knows Derek.
Sure.
So that's the one outlier. They don't know Tim Dills from Fever Tree, and they don't know Alan Bone from Every Mother's Nightmare, but they do now. So that's the point. YouTube, much larger reach. The more you patronize that, the more it grows, the more it benefits the community.
I want to see those, say, 15,000 views.
Right. Absolutely.
Let's get this thing out there and blow it up.
Absolutely. All right. So I got to play a song. Where is it? There it is. I'm going to play that sound every time we have new patrons to announce.
Oh, sweet.
So now we got to give some big thank yous.
I don't know anything about this, by the way.
I told you we had it in the amount of people, but I didn't say who.
Right.
And I surprised Jeff with that Ric Flair soundbite.
Yeah, that was great.
Okay, so, dude, our buddy Ryan Duran, in the last couple intros, I've been bringing him up. He wanted a coffee mug, so I gave him one. He owns a local business down the street from me called Boba Cream.
Yeah.
So we gave him a shout out, a big thank you for his engagement and to tell the story about the mug. Well, then he turned right around and became a patron.
Awesome.
All right, so Ryan, you're the best, man.
Thank you.
Boba Cream, right on Commerce Street, downtown Hernando, and get you some boba cream. That's what I'm talking about. The next 2, David Griffin.
Okay, I know who that is.
Okay, who's David?
He is. Well, I know him on Facebook. I don't know him personally.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I believe he's a sound guy. If I'm not mistaken, he's And
sorry if we get this wrong. We're researching on the fly.
This is on the fly, but so keep going. I'll look. Okay, I'll confirm.
Kenny Francis.
Oh, I know Kenny. Kenny's an awesome dude.
Okay. Do you need to pull him up online?
No, I don't need to pull him up at all. I know Kenny from back in the late 80s, early 90s. He was did much the same thing that I did. He was a drum tech. I believe he helped Roxy Blue and some other local bands, and just a huge member of the music scene.
Awesome.
And just a great guy.
Well, we very much appreciate that, Kenny.
Yes, sir.
And David Griffin. And and then the fourth and not final, because there's more coming, I'm sure. But I wanted to save this gentleman for last because it's Mr. Steve Owens.
Oh, Steve, we love you, brother.
So thank you, Steve. You continue to step up for everybody.
And yes, I was right. David Griffin Audio is his Facebook page.
Oh, okay. I follow you, David.
Yep.
Yes, I do. And I follow Kenny Francis and I are friends. But we're not quite, Facebook official level.
Right.
But I do follow Kenny.
You'll meet Kenny at some point, I'm sure, in person, because when he has time, he's out there.
Cool.
In the music scene.
All right, as usual.
I believe Kenny is an over-the-road truck driver, so there's a lot of times when he's not here. So,
okay. Well, we appreciate all of you listening, engaging, and we're going to highlight every new patron. If you sign up for $1 a month, we will, give you a shout out.
Yes.
Promote your business. Again, Ryan has a small business.
Right.
So, Boba Cream, Commerce Street, downtown Hernando. Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks to all you guys. We appreciate it.
All right, man. Let's talk Danny Day.
Let's do it. You want me to do it, or are you going to start?
You can go ahead and start.
Yeah, Danny. Danny's just like you said earlier. He is a staple in the Memphis music scene. He is a photographer. All you got to do is hit this guy up on Facebook or give him a call, and he'll show up at your show and take a buttload of pictures, and he'll post them all over Facebook, and he'll tag everybody that he knows, which he has a huge following, so it does you a lot of good to get this guy out there taking your photographs and posting these things, and it'll get you a lot of reach.
I am. It is scheduled now. Ribbon cutting for my new local business, SRP Studios, and I knew from as soon as I knew that it's time to start booking things. I called him. I was like, man, I want you there. I'm hiring you to, take photos of all this, capture this for me, please.
Right.
And he was thrilled, and I can't wait to work with him. And Danny, I mean, that's why I called you, man. Be cool. Good hang.
Yeah.
We talk about his beginning at South Main, like how he got started.
Yep.
There's also a great moment where he brought in this photo album that the pages were in a white binder, new, but the pages themselves, and everyone knows an old school, photo album, it had the plastic that laid over the pictures and, and it held the pictures in place on these thick cardboard pages.
Right.
Well, these pages were like old as fuck, man.
Yeah, they were.
And stained, and the pictures are from back in the 70s. And then it was so cool. So we show it on camera. There you go. Just jump on over to YouTube, y'all. It will be its own clip too.
Yeah.
And then I took pictures of the pages.
Yeah.
And then we're going to pepper those in while he's talking about that album.
Right.
We'll pepper in the slideshow for you.
Right. It's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It was a great interview and just really got to know Danny on a much more personal level.
Yeah.
Which was neat.
Yeah. I know afterwards I found out he felt a little nervous about it.
A little bit.
But I didn't feel like it came across that way.
I didn't either.
He came to talk.
Sure.
Danny Day knows how to talk.
He certainly knows how to talk.
And I love talking to him.
Yeah.
We had a chance to sit with him New Year's Eve.
Right.
At Neil's.
Right.
Now we've already talked about that night too. So, man, anything else you wanted to add?
I do. I want to throw a little bit of a curveball.
Sure, go ahead.
We didn't talk about this before. I make these posts all the time on Facebook, kind of telling everybody what's coming up.
Sure.
I'm going to do that on here. I'm going to just do a shout out real quick to the people we have coming in for interviews, the interviews we're going to have dropping.
Do it.
So today is, what's today's date?
Well, today as we record, or when this publishes?
Now. What is today's date?
Today's date is the 8th. Tomorrow is Monday the 9th.
On the 9th, we have Josh Haynes coming out.
Okay, well, here's the problem with this. This is happening after the 9th.
I know. I'm going to say, you will have already seen that. And then the week after that, we've got Jeff Cobble is going to drop. Yeah. And today we're interviewing John Patterson. Everybody knows that. Yeah. Looking forward to that. Yeah. That will have already been done, and you may have already seen it. No, I don't think so. See, this gets crazy. But anyway, we've got Todd Poole coming in, David Flexer, Tony Meharry, Joe Austin, lots of great people. Keep an eye on the Facebook page for a more real-time update. But I was just trying to do it on
I'm going to leave myself a note to get a sound. Whenever we fall into this time continuum trap.
You have one, I'm sure.
Well, no, I want to get great Scott. That's it.
That's good.
Because I was completely lost. Like I lost you. It's just been a tired Sunday. So I'm like, all right, whatever he said.
Whatever he said. Yeah.
Well, all right, everybody. Thanks for listening to us as always.
Yes.
And
enjoy Danny Day.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys, everybody. Danny Day.
It's about time, man.
Well, hey, guys.
The minute we decided to do this, you were on that list, and we knew you'd be a lot of fun, and we've enjoyed being around you. Relatively speaking, recent.
Yeah.
That at least I have known you.
Well, yeah.
But you left an impression, Danny Day, and we're excited to have you in today. And I know the audience is looking forward to this too.
Well, thanks, y'all. I hope y'all have had some great guys on here already. I've been watching, and I just hope I don't bring your ratings too low.
No, man, not at all. No, there's only one way from bottom, my friend. Come on.
If the ratings were going to sink, it would be because of us.
Hey, they survived 3 episodes of us.
Yeah.
So I don't think the 4th one would have.
Man, y'all been getting some great hits online on Facebook and.
As we record this, we're wrapping up Pete Mandillo week.
Yeah. And what's that? Man, I learned a lot on that one.
Yeah, that went well. The same is going to happen for you, sir.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Same. I promise we're going to do what we can. But I like your attire. Yeah. This is a video. Jump to YouTube and see.
Repping Memphis.
Yeah. So
Sun
T-shirt,
Studio.
Memphis Recording Pressing.
Yep. Memphis Record Pressing, where Tim Dills works.
Yeah.
And then Sun
and
Studios.
So many musicians work at both of those places.
Right.
Yeah.
All the tour guides at Sun, musicians. And listen, if you're looking for a job, Memphis Record Pressing is hiring. They are growing like crazy.
I
There
actually
you
saw
go.
that on Facebook that they were looking for people.
And
So-
I asked him, though, because I'm retired now, but I asked him, I said, well, you got anything part-time? And he just kind of chuckled. And I said, well, I'll take that as a no.
That's a no.
So,
but I guess the way that we met is that I actually had you come out and do some photographs for us at the the first Derek
The
Joseph
Sidecar
show we did here.
Cafe.
yep, Sidecar.
The South Haven, location.
South Haven.
I found you on Facebook. I saw how you were pushing bands and how you were supporting the people that you did photography for so much. And I had you come out, and it's been a friendship ever since.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I had a great time that night. It was my first time at Sidecar, the first time hearing Derek Joseph, and first time meeting all y'all.
That's right.
Yeah.
Made friends immediately, which I
Did.
think is a common theme in your life.
Well, thanks.
But yeah, same here. Like I remember Jeff telling me, hey, I hired this awesome photographer, Danny Day. And, no disrespect, I hadn't heard of you.
Yeah.
I was like,
Well,
okay,
thanks.
cool. Jeff's like, man, this guy goes everywhere. Yeah. I'm like, awesome, great. And then you showed up, man. I was like, oh, this guy's great. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed working with you.
Well,
that night.
thanks. It's something I only picked up about 7-8 years ago, 2015, January. A buddy of mine, Mark Parcell, had a vision of doing singer-songwriter venue in Memphis that may go along the line of Austin City Limits. However, it hadn't quite got to that. But he rented a room right by the arcade across from the train station and called it South Main Sounds. And he is not a musician, but he just loved Memphis music, supported music, and he's also a guy y'all need to get on here one day. But he and I and Brad Mathern went to look at this building. The arcade owns that whole block, and they own that building. So we went to look at it, and Mark rented it immediately. And we had our first show in January of 2015, and Brad dabbled in cameras because he and Mark both worked at Channel 5 and a couple other TV stations. And Brad was a technical guy, and he had cameras. I mean, that's what he did. And so he said, I want to be doing video. I want to be doing sound. We need somebody to shoot stills. I said, well, man, I'd love to give that a shot. And so that's how I got a camera in my hand. Started shooting South Main Sounds. And then one of our buddies played the shell. Went to Levitt Shell. Somebody's playing at Neil's. Good on Neil's. I just started going all over town.
Sure.
So January of
2015.
So we're working on 15, 17 years.
No, about 8.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Your math is off.
Yeah.
It's Sunday.
So
that's great, man.
And basically self-taught.
Yeah.
Brad was my mentor of sorts. And he kind of gave me the nuts and bolts of it. And then I just took off with it.
So from the start, it's always been about music.
Oh, yeah.
And musicians.
Oh, yeah.
Was there thought of something else, or the way it just came into your life that just
With
was what it was?
photography?
Yeah.
No, all music.
Yeah.
It was just, it started when I was a kid, and I didn't really realize it. But
Which we have an amazing photo album that we want to show. Should we just jump in now?
Absolutely.
I mean, it seems
Well,
like we're
we
there.
can.
So this is we're going to be sharing stills over in post production above the video.
Yeah,
but
you can't.
So
see
check this
them,
out
but-
on YouTube. But also, even just right now, you are holding up this old photo album with some
72
pictures from early 70s of you going to concerts, right?
Grand Funk Railroad with REO Speedway was my first show. There's Oyster Cult, Mountain, Peter Frampton. It just goes on and on.
Very
Edgar
cool.
Winter, Rick Derringer, just a ton of them. But I just took the little Instamatic 126 camera with me,
Right.
and shot it. And but little did I know that that's really what I wished I'd have picked up and done for my career.
So, how many year span was that era for you?
I don't know. It's several years, but
When you were younger.
Yeah, when I was a kid.
And so there was a large gap of time where photography just wasn't.
No,
really?
there was a little time I had a Canon AE1 program back in the 70s. And I dabbled with it with film, but I left it on the automatic mode all the time because film was expensive. And today, digital, I mean, I can come home with 1,000 shots after a night and just go through them.
I have a pretty nice Nikon, and I still leave it on auto because I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. So I just, point and shoot and let the camera figure it out.
I know how to put these cameras on tripods.
Right.
No, but that's fascinating. And it's interesting. I wish people could actually see that album and see the pages.
It's
a binder.
It's 50 years old.
It's a binder, but the pages in this binder
are 50 years old.
Are 50 years old, and they look 50 years old. And I grew up with a mom that took a lot of photos growing up, so we have stacks of albums, and it's so fun every once in a while to flip through and just look at your family, you know. And I think we're missing something with digital, like phones, and taking pictures of the phones, because when I was a kid. And we'd go on a camping trip or go to Disney. I went when I was like 8. A month after you get home, all these pictures come in.
Right.
And everyone sits around and, man, do you remember that?
Yeah,
you remember this? Mm-hmm. It was a thing.
Right.
You couldn't wait.
Yeah.
You'd mail in all those rolls and then you get the photos later. Now you take a picture on your phone and no one ever sees it.
And you're posting it in 5 minutes.
Or you're posting. I mean, people are seeing it that way. Yeah. But the thought of like, hey, let's all sit down, guys.
And look at pictures.
Let's, we went to a show last night. Let's share our pictures.
Right.
It just doesn't happen.
You lose the communal thing about it.
Right.
So, I miss the days of physical pictures and albums.
Yeah.
We met you through the sidecar gig, and then I quickly learned through us going to see original bands play and the bands that you photographed. The Fast Mothers and Fever Tree are the first two that come to mind. I saw so many photographs that he was involved in, and we talked to Tim about you doing the cover for the last album, which was really cool.
Fun.
So tell us about that. It's the shoot of that album cover and how that came about.
Well, Tim had hit me up early on, and things kind of got stalled for a little while, and then they couldn't get the location they wanted, and then finally Mark Bertaldo, the guitarist, said, "We'll just do it in our living room." Well, it's Social Mediocrity is the album name.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so their idea was to have a family, a mother, fathers, daughter, and son, and all on their own individual apparatus.
Device.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so we got Tim's wife Gina's brother's family, and they came in, and we just had an afternoon of shoot and took 200 or 300 shots, and we would take some and do something a little different and take some more and keep looking at them on the computer. And finally there was just this one where their daughter was looking in the cell phone with the peace sign like this, and I said, "That's the shot. That's the one we got to go with."
That's cool.
So then they also had the idea to make some transition to it. They dropped the background into black and white and left the family in color.
Okay.
And so that ended up being that one cover.
Neat.
That's awesome.
It was pretty cool.
And when did that album come out? I can't remember.
Just last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we had Tim Dills, we played the title track.
Mhm.
And great song.
Oh, tight.
And Rocco, the bass.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Rocco and John
Playing
Patterson
in the
together.
mix.
Yeah.
So I'm biased. I'm a bass player, but I think anyone can agree. The bass on that album is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
The whole album that way.
Yeah.
It's good.
So I met your dad.
Papa
We were
Richard.
at Neil's, and actually, hey, that was the show that
Papa.
you took me to.
Yeah.
That was when I first discovered Fast Mothers,
Right.
Every Mother's Nightmare, Elevation, Memphis,
Mhm.
and what was the fourth band? was there a fourth
Oh,
one?
why are you going to do that to me?
We always do this on the
Put me on the
mic.
spot.
We always make people feel bad because we'll forget a name, right?
And
But
it's never personal. If we forget
It's
a name,
not.
we're sorry.
That's what I worried about all the way on the drive down here.
Yeah, it's all right.
but yeah. So so we
Papa.
bump into you, and then you introduce your dad, and your dad is
Dad,
wonderful.
Yeah.
Papa Richard, everybody loves Papa. He followed me and Mark and Brad with our venture with South Main Sounds, and he had his front row seat, and actually he had his name on the seat. Everybody knew that was Papa's seat, and he's front and center, and he's deaf. Basically, he can't hear, but he may not understand the lyrics, but he knows the feeling of the tempo and the music.
Okay,
but he just was so proud of what we all were doing.
right.
Mhm.
But he kind of followed me, and the next thing you know, he branches off, and he's got his own musicians and bands he's following. He might come down to South Main Sounds and say, "Well, I'm going to go down here for a little while. You want to go?" No, Dad, I'm going home.
Well, it's neat. He's fun. I enjoy talking with him.
Oh yeah,
and then to see you two together. Not having known, like, relatively speaking, I really don't know you and your dad.
Right,
We bump into each other.
right.
But it's so obvious that you guys have a really decent
Oh, yeah.
relationship.
It's great. It's
Genuine
great.
relationship. And that's nice to see.
Yeah. He's they just recently, almost 2 years ago, moved to Roanoke, Virginia. My stepmother's daughters are there, and grandkids and kids, and they'd been here about 30 years, so they decided to time to go be with her family. So they moved over there. But I think the one caveat was Dad said, anytime I want to go, I'm going. And he's 87. He drives 12-hour drive over here.
He gets around.
I mean,
He looked mobile when I saw him.
I don't need to let my mother-in-law hear that. 'Cause she's 90, and I'm trying to get her to stop driving.
yeah.
Not going to work.
But no, he's been a great supporter of mine and of the whole music scene as well.
Awesome.
Memphis music.
So, Derek,
Yeah, so let's
talk to us about this.
So you brought some stuff with you. We already saw the photo album. Now, the next thing I would love to bring up for you is Valerie June.
Well,
and tell us more about that person and why you want to bring her up.
Well, Valerie, I had just moved back from Little Rock in 2006, and we went to a bunch of us. We chartered a bus from Memphis to West Helena, Arkansas, to go see the King Biscuit Blues Festival.
Yep.
It's a huge festival, annual festival in October. My birthday was in November. Walking along the streets, there's this cute little girl sitting there with a little amp and a guitar and short skirt and red cowboy boots and just singing her heart out, and had such a crowd around her. And it was really before I think I even had a cell phone. Or if I did, I don't remember. But so she kept spitting out her phone number, though, and contact information. So I knew she lived in Memphis and in Midtown. And I thought, man, that'd be cool to have my 50th birthday party. And we were going to have it at my buddy's house in Central Gardens. And so I contacted Valerie, and I said, would I be going too far out on a limb to ask you to do a house concert for my birthday? And she says, no. And so I met her at Otherlands in Midtown.
I love Otherlands.
Little
Yes.
coffee house.
Yeah.
Well, she used to do poetry and songwriting there. And so I met her at Otherlands, and I said, Valerie, I don't even know what to offer you. Will $100 work? And she said, yeah, well, within a short period of time after that party, she ends up going up to New York. Next thing you know, I'm seeing her on Jay Leno and David Letterman, and I'm watching the country music awards one night, and there's Eric Church singing, and he's singing just an acoustic song, and then all of a sudden the camera back pans out, and there's this beautiful girl in this red dress, and I get to looking, and it's Valerie. So I text her the next morning, and I said, was that you behind Eric Church? And she goes, yeah, I'm on the tarmac in Vegas now, getting ready to head to Europe. Well, since then, now she just recently opened for Dave Matthews.
Man.
She's played with Willie Nelson.
But you launched their career. I mean, let's be real. This is where the story's going.
Well,
After,
when she played my 50th birthday party,
Right.
she said she would play my 60th. So
There you go.
when it came around, I got to thinking, Valerie said she'd play, and I need to make this, a lot of fun. But I turned it into a benefit. And it was a big job. I had a lot of volunteers to help me. We had it at the warehouse. Chris.
yes.
Chris
So
Case.
let's bring that up. So you brought the what would you call this?
It was just my little junior poster of what I had, but we named it Daystock, and we had 12 bands play, and we only charged $10 a head.
And you said the warehouse. Where's the warehouse?
It's down at G.E. Patterson and Front Street.
Oh, okay.
Down by the arcade
that's
area.
south. That's Main.
South Main.
South Main
area.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so Valerie played. She headlined it for me. I got a whole slew of people to play that day. I had Brian Hayes and Royce Drury. Royce Drury, I just photographed his recent CD release last Thursday at Hernando's Hideaway.
I see Jack Rowell there.
Jack Rowell, Wampus Cats, the Fast Mothers.
There we go.
I had only known them like 2 years, but all these people, Southern Avenue, Free World, Zigadoo Money Clips, Hope Clavering and her band actually backed up Valerie because Valerie was under contract and she couldn't actually do it as Valerie June, her career deal. But anyway, she did it with Hope and this band. And part of the silent auction stuff, we got Ardent Studios to donate us 8 hours studio time. Well, they also gave us a Studio A the night before the show so Valerie and Hope and the band could practice.
Wow.
So that was super cool.
That's cool.
Very cool. And this is your basically based around your 60th birthday.
Yeah, that would have been 6 years ago.
66 you are. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice,
Just turned
man.
So what's she doing for your 70th?
Yeah, we got to work on that.
Okay.
You got to keep the
work on
tradition
that.
going.
Yeah.
Because remember, Danny, you launched her career.
That's right.
So she owes you every decade.
Well,
something.
I
She
wouldn't say
probably
I did
disagrees
that.
with that.
I just happened to be at the right place, and you know everybody that saw her that day. Because like I said, we chartered a whole bus.
Yeah.
And I went back up to the guys and everybody on. I said, "Y'all got to come down here and see this girl." And so but she doing great, man.
That's
Doing great.
very, very cool. And you know, my 60th is not too far away, 8 years, and you're pretty good friends with Tora.
I sure am.
So maybe we could
Jeff's going to find every angle
one way or another
that leads
to Tora,
which I think is great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Don't stop. But
Well,
it's going to be an ongoing theme.
that day at Neil's, you know, Jeff says, Danny,
That's right.
that's John Patterson over there. Please introduce me.
Yeah.
And so,
like schoolgirl,
like a kid in a candy store.
So
Yeah,
anyway,
schoolgirl.
we went outside, took some pictures, introduced, let them talk some drummer shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But John's his sweetheart too.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I got to one of the things I love to do besides going out and shooting live shows is studio work.
Right.
I got to go into American Studios with Tora.
Cool.
When was this?
About 2 years ago.
Oh, wow. Recent. Okay.
Yeah, about 2 years ago. And but yeah, I got with John. I said, you know, I know y'all going to studio. I said, hey, don't forget me.
Yeah.
So anyway, they let me come in and
Very nice.
basically just a fly on the shutterbug with on the wall. You know, fly on the wall, just taking snaps and. But you guys talk a totally different language, and I love that in the studio when y'all come back and listen to the playback and decide, well, hey, instead of doing this, let's do a little of that.
Yeah,
right.
But
you get a front row seat to the creation.
it's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
And that's another thing. When I was a kid, that's what really got me in. I'd open a double album, and if it was like a studio shot, I'm thinking, man, that's where the magic happens.
Right.
That's where it's really getting cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's always intrigued me. So I love doing studios. I've got to be in.
We got a studio right here for you, Danny.
Right.
If you want to,
Yeah, buddy.
test out a new lens or something. I don't know. What do you got?
What's always fascinated me about the studio work for musicians is that board and all of that gear. And I walk in and I'm like, there's no way in hell a person can know what every one of those slides and knobs are.
Yeah, that's why they're worth every penny.
Yeah,
a solid engineer
it's
and a producer
unbelievable.
is on. You know,
Oh yeah.
they make it happen.
I've got to fortunate to go in a lot of the studios in town. I've done Ardent. I've gone to Sun, Sam Phillips, Royal. Man, Royal, once again, Valerie June calls me up right before the 2020 jump. And she goes, "What kind of camera you use?" And I thought, that's kind of a weird question, but I told her, and she goes, "Well, look, I'm recording at Sam Phillips and then again at Royal. And would you, it's for my new album, but you got to be quiet." And so I ended up with 10 shots inside of her album. So that was really
Very
cool.
That's
So,
awesome. That's so cool.
No, full
Your
circle.
portfolio is insane. Man.
Full
That's
circle.
great.
You know, she paid me 5 times what I paid her.
Yeah, because you lost a career.
Yeah.
And anyway, but Royal was awesome.
Yeah.
We go in there on a cold winter afternoon. I had no idea what to expect, but it was they'd already laid the basic tracks,
Right.
and they needed this background vocal. Well, guess who it was? Carla Thomas.
Nice.
Okay.
So do you get some photos with her? Yeah.
Oh yeah, Carla. But before
Where's she from?
Carla Thomas is Rufus Thomas's daughter. She's probably in her 70s or 80s now.
Oh, okay.
She's been around forever, blues.
Okay.
But for 2 hours before they ever started recording, Carla was telling old road stories.
Sure.
I'm talking like in Las Vegas
So
and Los Angeles.
everyone's captivated.
Oh yeah, we're just Boo Mitchell and so it's got you know Boo.
Oh yeah.
Boo.
I don't know him. I know who he is.
Okay,
Maybe
well,
one day I'll get to meet him.
Yeah, well, Boo, Valerie, and Boo's mom and his aunt.
Yeah.
That's all that was in there.
Right.
And so, yeah, for 2 hours, I get to listen to Carla Thomas tell stories. And it was fascinating. And then
Some nice perks.
yeah. It's crazy.
And for everybody listening that may not be in the Memphis area, Royal Studios is a big historical place in Memphis where music is recorded, and you might know Bruno Mars is one of the most recent huge names that's recorded there. So,
And I think it's worth highlighting because to the outsiders, Sun Records, that's Memphis.
Yeah.
Then you go a little deeper, Stax.
Right.
Yeah.
But that other one, like I didn't learn about it until I moved here
Yeah.
and started hearing about it. You know, so it's cool that you're highlighting it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So let's talk about another thing that I really appreciate about your method and how you handle the transaction. I love how you deliver the photos to the bands, you know, because you throw them all up on Facebook and you tag and really you have big reach, sir.
Well,
you know, and it's really cool. So it helps promote them and yourself, and then it's a platform for the artists to go grab their photos.
You know, exactly. Facebook has a lot of a few negative traits, but for me, if it wasn't for Facebook, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah.
right.
But yes, I learned early on the way to get my photos out there was to come see a band, find out Jeff's name, Derek's name, Derek's name, everybody's name in the band.
Right.
Then I'd go home and I'd friend request them while I'm working on the pictures so that they would have time to accept.
I'm loving this story right now. This is how I like to operate. You know?
And so then as they accept, even if they didn't accept me or didn't even see it yet, I would still maybe tag them when I'd write out my description. Bass player is Darren, drummer's Jeff Ward.
And even then, sometimes you can't find the person.
Right.
So.
Yeah, there's times. But for the most part, that's how I developed my bass. And then now I've reached my Facebook limit.
Which is 5,000.
5,000.
I'm a long way from that.
And so I'm having to kind of go back through and maybe delete some people that I don't really see much
I'm
of.
thinking maybe put him in charge of marketing this podcast.
Well, I mean, honestly, we kind of did the similar thing with this. We came out of nowhere, and Jeff was really the one behind, like, oh, let's tag this band.
Right.
He would bring bands up in conversation and then share that with them and tag them so that, hey, we talked about you.
Right.
You know, similar thing. And people enjoyed that, it seems. Because now we got a nice little following already.
Right.
Yes.
So Facebook, again, another win for Facebook.
Right.
Yeah, it really is. And another thing I love doing is always going through the birthday list. You've probably seen me post a lot, like Doug Davis the other day with Backstreet Caller Band, drummer for him. I just go back through and I find about 5 or 6 photos, tag them, wish them happy birthday, and just keep it out there. Keep my photographs out there. And
like I know TikTok and Instagram is like the hot thing right now, but
look, I'm
old
school.
But none of them have that kind of connection the way Facebook does. The way you can converse and tag. I find Instagram to be kind of
I'm just connected to Instagram by Facebook. So whatever I post on Facebook, but I don't even know how to navigate Instagram.
Especially you though, because your medium is so visual. So that is tailor made for Instagram. But the conversation is not as easy on Instagram. Right. Facebook, you can have a conversation. It's just slicker that way. At least how my experience.
Yeah.
Instagram is sort of locked off. It's like shut off in its own little, and then TikTok, I have nothing.
Well, I'll tell you another thing about Facebook that really used to excite me, and it still does. But I tried to keep up with it for a while, and it was happening so fast I couldn't. But so many musicians and people I've photographed use those photos for their profile pic.
Oh,
and it was like,
absolutely.
I would have bands. I'd walk in and they go, oh, good, we get some new profile pics.
And what's genius also is you brand them. You put your logo, genius,
little watermark. It's
genius.
just real simple. It's just, and I've always been one for dates. That's why you see my DD with the 2022.
That's great. Yeah,
and it also helps me when somebody calls up and says, hey, can you get me a high-res shot of this? And I have to go back and find it. At least I know what year I'm looking for.
Dude, it's so well thought out. And that's why you're always so busy, because all they have to do is see your work. And then once they meet you, forget about it. Like they're always going to come back when they need a photographer.
Thanks. And that leads me to this. I had a client just last week, met through a referral. He's a blues man. He lived 30 years in Los Angeles, in the blues scene in Los Angeles. Well, when he was younger, he served at the military up at the Millington base. And he said the blues kind of died out in LA, and his wife wanted to move to Houston. So he says, well, let's go to Memphis and visit Memphis first. And so she came here and they fell in love with it and stayed here. Well, what I'm getting at is he hired me, and he's hired me twice now. And he said, I'm the easiest photographer that he's ever worked with. And I'm thinking, you've been doing this all your whole life. I mean, what'd I do? And he said, man, I don't know. You're just easy, I don't know. But I'll just try to get along and just.
Well, dude,
I'll just be me. I mean,
Well, there's a reason why I hired you too, my friend. I haven't even talked about this yet, but this studio is going to get a ribbon cutting February 7th.
I'll be here.
And first thing I thought of is I want it captured, and who am I going to call but Danny?
Thanks.
Day.
Thanks.
And I'm looking forward to working with you. And that kind of bridges me to more of a personal story between you and I, because you and I have some mutual friends here in Hernando.
Yes, we do. And I'm going to go see them after.
Chip and Christy, right?
Yeah.
So Chip Johnson, the mayor of Hernando.
The mayor of Hernando.
I had met him because of the Real Hernando podcast. I interviewed him for my other podcast I executive produce and host for Hernando. So one of the nicest guys you'll meet. Like I could say a lot. I can't say enough good things about Chip Johnson. He's just a fun guy, and we're going to talk more about him. But to the point where, I've been building a relationship with him. I see him at ribbon cuttings, and it's really cool. He's finally been in the studio. But go back to the show that you did for us at the Sidecar. You, I forget how it came up. Maybe you saw that I posted something. I don't know, but the mayor came up and we realized that we were mutual friends in a way.
Yeah.
But the real connection is his wife, Christy, and you're hunting.
Yes.
So let's break away from the photography and music and everything, because of Chip and Christy, you are a fanatic hunter. Yes or no?
Well, I'm not as mad at the deer as I used to be.
Okay.
But I do love hunting, yes. And I was also a late bloomer at hunting. I was almost 40 before I started hunting. But I do love it. We have a family farm that's been in our family since the Civil War. My grandmother's grandfather settled there after the war in 1864.
Wow.
And still an old frame house there. And
We have a lot to talk about off camera.
Tim Bills told me this morning that y'all have a big farm.
Yeah.
Jeff does. I have an apartment.
No, my wife does. I'm just hanging out.
Yeah. Well, anyway, though, yes, I met Christy at South Main Sounds where I got started.
Okay.
She came there to see Jimbo Mathis one night. Jimbo is the lead singer of a band y'all may have heard of called the Squirrel Nut Zippers.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's the lead man. And so she came to see them, she and Chip. And we got to talking after the show, and I don't even know how hunting came up, but it came up. And I was like, ooh, we got to get together. So she and Chip
You
actually
pushed Chip to the side.
No, Chip's never really been hunting, but she brought him to, or they came together to our farm. We did not have any success, but we sure had a good time.
Yeah.
And they're great people. I love them. I'm going to go visit them here a minute after we get down here.
There hasn't been a ribbon cutting or some kind of luncheon I've been to in the chamber where if I bump into Chip and Christy or just one of them, your name always comes up. Every time. And honest, I think you might have been the connector.
Yeah.
And then we started talking music because Chip and Christy are huge music fans.
Yes.
Okay. They really are. They like the indie stuff. And they really support
what's the thing
original
you also
music
have here on the square? The music on the summer.
Well, they have Sunset on the Square and Hometown Headliners, but it's all cover acts.
Yes.
Okay. You know, there's shout out to Stephen Michael, Mississippi Music.
Yes, I do know Stephen.
So he needs to be on this podcast too. He was on The Real Hernando. That's how I met him. And he does a lot of good original showcasing and stuff.
Yep. And that's similar.
But so Chip and Christy are big supporters of those types of events.
Gotcha.
They really like the original indie stuff.
Exactly. But yeah, so that's how we met. Music brings so many people together.
Yeah, sure.
Of all kinds.
You know, we're using our experience and history and connections as musicians to pull from to make this thing happen.
Right.
You know, and what are we talking about? Music and bands. And you're not in a band, you're not a musician, but you're integral to this community.
Well, let me tell you something else that happened that I'm not even sure you're aware of. In 2018, I got a phone call from Tamara Cook, who is the business administrator for Cooper Young Business Association, asking me if I'd be interested in booking the largest single-day festival of the state, which is the Cooper Young Fest.
Yeah.
So I've been booking Cooper Young since 2018.
Cool.
I kind of was behind the scenes for a little while, but we did have 3 stages, but we lost one of the stages due to some construction. But we have 2 stages with a total of 12 acts, 7 acts on the main stage and 5 acts on the Grizzly stage. And
damn, that's some running around for you, isn't it?
Oh, it's fun though.
Yeah.
I mean, so just another avenue for me to meet so many other bands, and of course a lot of them that I photographed come to, hey man, can you book me? And get this, we have so many bands, and once again, it's all original. We don't allow any cover. Matter of fact, people, can we at least play one cover song? Well, we tried that, and they would abuse it. And so the board
there's plenty of places to see cover.
that. Right.
And nothing against cover bands.
Nope.
But let's give some room and showcase originals.
We have a 5-year rotation. So if y'all played this year, you couldn't play for 5 more.
So it gives other people opportunities.
There's that many bands that want to
You don't
play.
get the same, 3 or 4 bands just
every year
flying through the place.
Right. So like the Fast Mothers, they were one of the first ones I brought out. I had Fever Tree. Well, the first year I did it, rock and roll is really my blood.
Sure.
And I was a little heavy on the rock. I had Under the Radar, which I
didn't see you as a Bruno Mars type of guy.
I had Under the Radar. I had Fever Tree. I had Shotgun Billy's headline, and it was a little strong on the rock side, but we are very diverse. We have Memphis has so many genres of music, and it's I'd be remiss if we didn't bring something up, Jeff. We almost forgot when we were talking about the what we wanted to bring up.
Okay.
I thought you saw my note. I threw your way.
No, I'll let you do it. You do it.
And I can't believe I almost forgot to talk about this. It's the Hall of Fame, the Blues Hall of Fame.
Oh,
because you had classic photos of you and Robert Plant and Priscilla Presley.
Yeah, that was cool.
you know, I used to be a little intimidated at first with other photographers.
A little
in the room.
starstruck. Oh.
With other photographers.
Other
in the room.
photographers. Gotcha.
But Steve, I met
Constantly.
Steve Roberts.
Thank you.
And he is the house photographer of Lafayette's.
Okay.
So I was at the Lafayette's Tommy Awards here last year, which was their first or inaugural award show. Tommy being the previous owner or the owner that passed. And Steve came up to me and introduced himself. I said, well, I'm Dan. He goes, I know who you are. And I'm like, holy cow, here's, this guy is the house photographer. He shoots all the big, like Samantha Fish shows and stuff like that.
Right.
And, but anyway, he and I just buddied up, man. I mean, just hit it off.
Shocker.
Well,
it keeps coming back to that.
He's loaned me equipment, and then one day he calls me up and says, "What are you doing on September 15th?" Well, that was 2 days prior to the Cooper Young Festival, and I'm thinking, well, that's a Thursday night. Wow, what you got? I said, I'm free, and he says, well, we're at the Memphis Music Hall of Fame, and he said, I need a second shooter. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then
I like that terminology. I need a second shooter.
Yeah. Well, he was the main shooter, right?
Sure.
And so I was just the second guy. Well, he was out front at the stage, and my job was we had a backdrop in the backstage. And so as the celebrities came off the stage, it was my job to round them up and, hey, let's get some backdrop pictures,
Nice. Meanwhile, he can stay inside. And
so he's out front shooting the show. And in the crowd. And so I had already met Priscilla. I got to shoot them prior to the actual show down in the hallway of the dressing room. And then they came off the stage. Actually, I was standing right beside them on stage as Priscilla was getting ready to be inducted. And when they came off, I got their shots and all this. And another guy I'd kind of buddied up with, they had to walk down this hallway and kind of wait for a break in the action before they walk back to their table. And so my buddy was down there and he goes, come on. I said, are they still there? And so, man, I took off and I'm getting my phone ready for, a selfie. And I walked down there and Robert was, and Priscilla were talking to, actually, Jerry Lee Lewis's manager and his brother, J.W. Williams and his brother. And so I just kind of went up and I was like, hey, Mr. Plant, do you mind if I get a selfie? And Priscilla kind of started to step away. And I said, no, ma'am, I want you in it too. And JW goes, he said y'all. And so anyway, man, I just
common Southern term.
Boom. And
did you have a chance to talk at all?
We really didn't. I wished we could have, but I did hear him speak. I didn't get
that must be surreal. Sure.
I really didn't get
be surreal.
Really didn't get to have a conversation per se, but yeah, I got Priscilla. Ronnie Millsap was there that night.
So awesome!
I got pictures with Ronnie Millsap. I took their pictures. So that was a fun night. That was fun.
I love Ronnie Millsap. He's one of my favorite country artists.
Well, you know why he was inducted? Because he's not from Memphis, but in the early days of Elvis, he was the keyboard player before he went to Nashville.
I had no idea.
He was playing keys in the studio with Elvis.
That's great.
You gave me one word before the interview. I'm going to let you take this one. Dylanite. So please tell me the story behind that word.
Well, you can do it. Take it away, Daniel. Well, I know we have billions and billions of fans out there watching.
Yeah, that's Mr. Tim Dills of Fever Tree. I think Rocco, actually, the bass player, Rocco, I think pretty much came up with that term. But
gotcha.
I don't know. He used a picture of mine one time, and Rocco says, "Yeah, that's Tim Dills. He has billions of fans." And so,
yes.
Now you get it.
Now getting it.
Now you get it.
You're slower than I am.
We're gonna introduce a new sound. I've been waiting to play this. I'll explain later.
Okay.
Squirrel is our sound when I lose concentration and I ADD the hell out of an interview. So my apologies. Yes.
Yes.
So it's the Santa video with the moving mouth and calling him out because he didn't get mentioned.
Right.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, well, just so Tim, I hope you're watching this, but before we went on camera, I made the comment about being a Dillionite, and Danny said, Tim hates that shit. All right. I said, well, that means we're going to talk about it.
I'm going to make up for my... Y'all talk.
Okay.
And I'm going to find the audio and play it.
Okay.
So y'all talk, please.
Okay. Well, now you're putting us on the spot.
Yeah.
That's
1, 2, 3, go.
Go. All right. So, so Tim and the Dillions and Dillions of fans, that's where that came from.
Yes,
And,
that's it. I don't think he's super fond of it. Maybe it draws too much attention.
well, somebody did make a comment on Facebook. It may have been Rocco, but one of them said that it takes thick skin to be in that band. And I thought that was funny.
Both the Fast Mothers and Fever Tree kind of consider me the extra member of the band, and so I go to their practices and stuff sometimes, and I kind of chimed in on that one time, and Mike Retardo goes, "Yep, you're part of the band. You're in.
Well, I see they get
As
pretty.
Tim tucks his head and walks out the door.
They get pretty tough on John Patterson sometimes, and I'm gonna have to back John up. We drummers have to stick together, so I'll take up for John whenever I see these guys giving him a hard time.
Well, John can dish it out.
Yeah, we're ready.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. It's me, Tim Beals. Next to me is my beautiful wife, Gina. Recently, I was on an amazing podcast called The Rhythm Section. I was on there and talked music for a while and had a really good time. And after the podcast aired, I had dillions of people email me and ask me, "Hey, Tim Beals, don't you have a bass player in your band too?" Well, the answer to that is, yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
But I don't want to tell you his name just yet. Or if you listen to the very end of the podcast, the last 2.3 seconds of it, I do mention his name. But for all the dillions and dillions of fans out there, I will be releasing his name on the next podcast. So stay tuned and make sure you hear out from me, Tim Dills.
And watching the video too makes it. But I'm so glad that came up organically so we could play that.
Well, and after that, Tim threw us under the bus pretty hard because he made a comment that he actually talked about Rocco for a good 15 minutes, and we edited all that out. So,
I was not aware of that.
Thanks, Tim.
I need to have a chit chat with somebody on that one.
This thing went off the rails in a hurry today.
No. I mean, we're having fun with sounds, right?
Yeah.
So let's see. What can we talk? Let's talk Midtown, because I lived in Midtown for about 3 years, Carr and Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
So the west end of the bubble, if you will, just outside of Central Gardens. And I know you're a big fan of Midtown, and I am too. I'm in Hernando. We're absolutely where I want to be. That's my own personal journey. I'm so glad to be here. But my heart is always going to be in Midtown too. I love Memphis, and I love living in that area. So I know you do too.
Well, I worked at TÜV Commercial Printing, or TÜV American Digital, on Cooper for the last 12 years, right before I retired, and so I bought a house there in east end of Midtown, right as Union runs up on Cooper. I mean on Poplar, and but anyway, Lafayette's is one of the places I like to frequent as far as music goes. And they've made me feel so welcome there too. And of course, there's all kinds of clubs around Cooper Young, DKDC, and just a bunch. And then, of course, you can go on to town and Bill Street. I've shot all those clubs down through there too. But yeah, I do like Midtown. It's just been my home for the last 15 years or so.
And you've seen some good change. Positive change in Midtown over the last decade. Even I remember when I moved here in 2011, Overton Square looked a lot different.
Yeah.
There was plywood planks on windows still in some spots. Now look at it; it's awesome.
And of course, Overton Shell.
Yep.
And let me throw a plug out there. Cole Early, who is the videographer for Overton Shell and has been for years, has put together a museum in the green room backstage, and they're doing $5 tours, $5.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, so much history back there, you can't absorb it in one visit. So I really highly suggest you go contact Overton Shell or Cole Early, and check that out, because it is very interesting. It goes from the history of the beginning of the Shell all the way through the changes and ownerships and what have you, and all the people that have played there.
Right.
It's very, very interesting as far as a musical tour.
Nice. Well, we're going to be close to wrapping this up here. I always like to let the guests do some call to action. So coming off of what you just, promoted, is there any other place you'd like to address or highlight? And then we definitely want to highlight all of your, where people can find your work, which is your Facebook page, which will be.
Yes, I am retired now, and I'm on a limited budget. So yes, please call me. Just call me.
But is there any other place that you'd like to highlight?
Gosh,
not to put you on the spot here, but before we wrap up, to give you the floor.
Niels is
okay.
We mentioned Niels earlier, but
so let's talk about Niels.
Niels is great. Neil had, y'all probably don't know this, but he originally started in a little shotgun shop restaurant right across from the Methodist Hospital in Union, before it was over on Madison and McLean.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had a little shotgun place there, and then went to Madison McLean, and when it burned, of course, he went to Quince.
Mm-hmm.
But man, talk about a supporter, and especially for benefits.
For sure.
Oh my gosh.
We've mentioned him several times on the podcast.
Yep.
And
of course, Niels is always going to come up.
Sure.
That just is what it is,
It's just a staple.
Yeah. And, Mark Goodman is an old friend of ours, unfortunately, God bless his soul, but he was a big Niels supporter. And anytime he put on anything, that Niels. So, and that's where I met your dad.
Yep.
Niels.
So tell people where they can find you. Do you have a website?
I don't. I need to get one. I've had some offers to help me build one. I just haven't done it.
Yeah. I get it.
But it's time.
Facebook is the
Facebook's really it.
Okay.
But,
and in the About section on his page, you have a PayPal link. So in essence, and some different. Tell me about that. So people can access.
On my cover page, I do have the electronic transfer codes, but and I got to thank Sean Few really for that. Sean, during the Tommy Awards, he posted my Venmo. And I got so many tips, and thank all of you people for those tips.
That's awesome.
Nice.
It really helped at the time I needed it. And then I got to thinking, Graham Winchester, he's another drummer in Midtown. I saw a post by Graham one time. It said, if you don't promote yourself, who will?
Yeah.
And so I thought, why not? And so I try to put a plug at the end of every post now, because now I'm not doing it as fun. I'm doing it for myself, but I'm doing it. When you call me up, I'm going to put a dollar price on it.
Sure.
Dude, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, no. This is
for years.
This is business, brother. You have earned.
Yeah.
You're right to request money to do what you do.
Zero shame.
I just asked for tips, but
I mean, he's doing it for free for me. I did ask. I asked him. No, of course not.
No, yeah. Well, I used to do it, but that was my love for music.
Yeah,
the Memphis music scene.
Hey, you can love music and still make money.
Yes. Well, I've when I was doing Cooper Young, says, I've heard musicians say before, well, we just don't want to do it. We just don't want to play for exposure. We're already out there. We need to get some money.
Sure.
Well, I don't know. I do feel bad about it, but
don't. If me and Jeff are saying stop, that means no.
Okay.
We're not the judge, jury, executioner here for your emotions behind charging money. But as a friend, dude,
Yeah.
Yes.
make money.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Anyone else would agree with that.
All right.
Yeah, you are talented, and you have an awesome little model. I just love, it's simple. It's Facebook. This is how I deliver my photos. You brand them, the way you connect and tag. You put your codes up there, and it's just neat. And people are just going to keep coming back.
But
man.
Besides just getting their names and knowing their names, I've become friends with these people.
Oh yeah.
The networking is key.
That's something I did learn from my dad. I've watched him, and believe it or not, I was pretty much a shy youngster, but I just watch him, and I mean, I've never seen a conversation. He met somebody for the first time, and they didn't know somebody that knew somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
1 to 2 degrees removed from everybody.
Yeah.
Me and Jeff are, thanks to Jeff again, because he knows the people to call. It's just amazing the kind of people that we're going to end up meeting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's my favorite part. And you get to sit across from you and talk.
I
It's
will
great.
gladly help you
Hey.
round up some people.
We'll,
if
we'll
you
take
need.
all the help we can get.
I mean, we have no shortage.
No.
Booking guests, the only problem we have with booking guests is keeping up.
I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
That's our problem.
And then editing
Yes.
and getting it aired.
Yeah, we have our flow now. We have our production flow, and but it's awesome to meet awesome people in this room, and it's extra personal for me and heartwarming because it's my little space, which is nice. I get to invite people to it.
Well,
That's
I'm
awesome.
super impressed with it.
But then,
this is awesome.
But then you personally, it's just been a joy
Well, thank you.
doing this.
Thank you. No, it's been a great time.
And we want to do it again.
Absolutely.
You're going to be a reoccurring character.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Everyone is.
Like right now, we're doing interviews, getting to know life story, history, and everything. But over time, Danny Day is going to come on this show just to bullshit, and maybe pair you up with someone else, and so there'll be 4 of us, and we'll just talk.
I think maybe Tim Dills and Danny Day at the same time.
we can do these little concoctions. Like, who do we want to mix?
Right.
Let's change it up.
Absolutely.
So.
There's I've been honored to meet so many people and musicians and go to all these studios with these people. I mean, Jimmy Fulp studio right around the corner here, y'all.
He's coming on, and I just discovered he lives in Hernando.
Broken
so
Snare. I mean, I've been there with the Fast Mothers and a couple others, and
he and I are going to be having coffee very soon.
Man, I knew Jimmy played the drums, but man, I've watched him play guitar and sing, and these guys are just multi-talented.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we're looking forward to getting to see his studio soon. I think.
You'll like it.
And any kind of reach we give people like yourself and Jimmy Fulp and our past guests, it thrills us. If you get the tiniest bit of reach because of this podcast, it really makes us happy to highlight people like you.
Well, thank you.
I
appreciate it.
So, all right, Jeff, let's wrap this thing up. Man.
Yeah.
So let's tell people where they can find us.
Yeah. And Danny, thanks again for coming in.
Oh,
man.
you bet, man.
Yeah,
pleasure.
We're on all the major platforms: Facebook, YouTube. I won't go into Derek's name and spelling, but we're there. We're Apple, Spotify, iTunes, everywhere, and we do have a link tree. So if you click on that in the description, it takes you wherever you want to go.
Yeah, it gives you all the options.
Yep.
It gives you everything we got. It's like our website, which actually I need to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
Linktree is free.
Yeah.
They didn't pay me to say that. And as I mentioned in the intro, look, we do this at SRP Studios, ShelbyRowProductions.com. If you're interested in starting a podcast, sign up for that free consultation. You'll be talking to me directly. Come say hello.
Yeah.
And we'll see if we can work something out for you. And also, Patreon is another way we support this podcast.
For sure.
Check out our Patreon link in the description. We have one tier. It's called the Tip Jar. Just $1 a month. If you can spare $1 a month subscription, that would go a long way to help cover some of these costs, and give Danny gas money. Oh, man.
There's an edit spot.
Shut up, man.
All right, everybody. That's Derek.
Yeah, that's Jeff. And again, Danny.
That's Danny.
Thank you so much, man. Looking forward to working with you again here in the future.
Thanks for watching and listening.
All right, bye.